First of all, this is the most bingeable Disney Plus Marvel show I can watch. It is so good. I love the tone.
Oh my God, thank you.
It's fantastic. So good. The question I have for you is, Jin is kind of forced to kind of integrate the She-Hulk into her everyday life, including her professional life and dating life. How does that impact the way she perceives herself and how the world perceives her?
Great question. So, so much of the show is about her acceptance, and so much, there was a huge theme of identity in this show, because she is in this very unique position where when she turns into the Hulk, unlike Bruce in the early days, she retains her consciousness. She's still the same person mentally, but because she's in a different physical body, she's able to see in real time the different ways that people treat her and the world perceives her, because so much of identity is not only how you think of yourself and what you put out into the world, but how the world receives you and what the world gives back to you. And so for her, like, she really can see very clearly, like, oh, I'm being treated like this because I look like this, and I'm being treated like this because I look like that, and that does something to someone emotionally and psychologically that she has to grapple with.
Sure. This show, I'm shocked by this, but it has the biggest connective tissue out of anything in Phase 4 that we've seen so far. How much of that is a challenge to you, and how much of that was ever changing because of the overall MCU story changing?
Going into it, we always knew that because the cinematic universe is so connected, that everything we do is going to have to be connected to everything. But because of the format of the show, that it's a half-hour legal comedy, it kind of naturally and organically lends itself to having a lot of guest stars because, every episode there's going to be a lawsuit of some kind. Right. You need people in those lawsuits and not just floating lawsuits, So you just naturally need to fill in the blanks of these people. And our starting point was always we would mine the movies and the comics for characters that we wanted to use. Then we would start thinking like, well, what's a very character-specific reason that person had legal problems or needed legal help?
In the MCU, outside of the characters we see in Season 1, who could use Jen Walters' legal assistance the most?
Oh, boy. I mean, nearly all of them, because they've all done so much property damage that, like, how are none of them in trouble?
True story. Something else I wanted to ask you is, when you started She-Hulk, did you envision this as a limited run series and then eventually having the character graduate to the films? Or is this something that you want to just keep ongoing? By the way, the series is fantastic, so.
Thank you. Thanks for buttering me up. I think because I come from writing for television where you can never, ever take for granted that you're going to get another season. So coming into it, like, my mindset was always like, I have to just imagine there's only one, because I can't, I can't think of more. I can't leave stuff on the table. Because I've learned from working in TV for so long and, cancellations and things not going that, like, you might not get the chance to show the thing that you were saving. So I really wanted to make sure that in the first season, we told a complete story. And to me, this first season is really, in its entirety, is really her origin story. The pilot really shows her physical origin story, but the rest of the season is kind of her emotional and interior, origin story. And but like, any good TV writer, we got to leave the ending opens for more possibilities.
It's the in-between moments of the MCU that I love the most. The dating profiles, her with Nikki, those are just so much fun, and the characters are just so well written. Like Madison, even like somebody like Madison is fantastic. And this is also a character a lot of people may not know, that she broke the fourth wall before Deadpool.
Yes.
And Tatiana does a fantastic job at it. Can you talk to me about what Tatiana brought to the show that wasn't necessarily on the page?
Oh, I mean, everything you see is what Tatiana brought to the show, because on the page, these are just words, you know? This could be any character, like, this could be anybody. But in Tatiana's capable hands, like, it became a person, like, right before your eyes, like magic, It's like, it's like one of those little capsule sponges that you add water and then suddenly it turns into a dinosaur. Like, that's really what it was like watching her, like, turn these words on the page into this real person. Because when you watch her on the screen, you're like, this is a human being who has lived a life, who has relationships. I believe that she has ups and downs. I believe she has good days and bad days.
Right.
I believe she has an opinion on anything that I would bring up, like, you really felt like this was a flesh and blood real person and not just like a TV person,
Are there any elements from the comic series that you'd want to explore in season 2?
Oh boy, I mean, so much stuff, so many different things. Like, there's so many more characters I would love to bring in, from her runs, but also from the rest of Marvel. There's just, I mean, everything. I just want more of everything. Everything you see in this first season, I want more.
That's you and me both. Everything I've seen in this first season is incredible. Speaking of which, Mark Ruffalo is fantastic, and he's been playing this character for the better part of 10 years. Can you talk to me about his approach to the character this time around, and kind of what surprised you about his performance as he embodies Bruce Banner and the Hulk?
Yeah. What's so great about Mark, other than that he's just the greatest person ever, is that he really came just game for anything. Like, he came ready to play, and he was so open, especially for someone who has been playing this character for so long. Like, he has such ownership of this character. He knows this character inside and out, and here we are, like a guest in his character, but he was so open about it, and he was just like very respectful of our creative process, and he just wanted everything to be good and fun, and he wanted to make sure that everybody was happy, but when there were times where where there were things that he felt could be additive, he let us know, and it was just like very collaborative and open.
So I did watch the pilot with my girlfriend, and she loved the bathroom scene and said that was as accurate as you probably could get with a superhero scene in a women's bathroom. Can you talk to me about just that real world aspect of that kind of like female empowerment in the bathroom like that?
That scene is so important to me. Like, and I had to really go to bat for that scene, because
Really?
a lot of people didn't understand why it was so important. Because if you look at it from the surface level, you're like, it's kind of an extraneous scene. It doesn't really serve a plot purpose, You could really get through the story, and you could cut it, and, you would still understand what was happening in the story. But I was like, this is the single most important scene in that entire episode to me, because it really shows, like, the magic and the protective, like, warmth of the women's bathroom. It is a beautiful and safe environment. I mean, outside at the bar, maybe these women would have fought each other.
Sure.
But for some reason, when you get past the magic barrier of the women's bathroom door, it is the most protective and loving and supportive environment. A girl that you meet in the bathroom of a club will go and like help you bury your dude if you need her to.
Sacred ground.
Yes,
Sacred
absolutely.
Ground. Look, fantastic show. I absolutely love She-Hulk. Fell in love with all these characters. I can't wait for everyone to see it. Thank you so much for your time, and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. So great to meet you.